So one of the big questions I've been asked a lot here lately is why do I think the violence is so bad in one area, especially under these ICE operations? Why do I think that there's so much violence in one area, or it appears to be so much violence in one area and not in another? And probably the real obvious thing to point to right now is that these blue states is where all the so-called violence is happening, right? That's where all of the anger and frustration and demonstrations, and believe me, these are not peaceful demonstrations, these are violent demonstrations, um, are happening because you don't see the same thing happening in Florida. And the only thing you can attribute it to is that these are blue states, these are red states. Now, granted, in these blue states, they've passed sanctuary laws, which, for just a quick little recap of what a sanctuary state does or a city does, is that if I arrest somebody that's an illegal migrant for a crime, I don't report that to ICE, right? I don't report that to federal law enforcement. Now, if there's an active warrant, depending on what that warrant is for, you have an obligation to hold that person on that warrant and notify the agency of that warrant, right? So that's kind of where these sanctuary policies end, though. Just because you have a sanctuary policy in place does not prohibit federal law enforcement from coming in and doing their job, but it does make their job much harder. So now, instead of me just coming to a jail peacefully, you hand them over to me. I put my cuffs on them. You take your cuffs off them. We put them in my car and we drive away and we take them to our facility. Now you release them into the public. So that makes their ICE's job now that much harder to have to go in. Now they got to go into the communities and they have to go take these people out of their homes. They got to, and sometimes they have to surveillance them because they're not sure exactly where they're living. So they got to surveillance and make sure that they're living in the spot that they claim to be living when they left jail on that booking report. Because let's remember, all booking information is public knowledge. Go on your local sheriff's office now and see who all got booked into their jail last night. You'll be able to see them all. So all of that stuff is general knowledge, right? So, but they just make their lives so much harder by having to go out in the public now and find them. So what happens now? You've got paid agitators out there. There's questions. Some of these people are making like 150,000 a year, flying all over the country to be a paid agitator. Whether it's in LA, whether it's in Minneapolis, doesn't matter. They're getting paid to do this. And I mean, let's face it. Some of these signs you see coming out of these pickup trucks are professionally um, printed up, right? How many of these people really have legit jobs that are out here doing these protests? Not very doggone many of them, right? They've got a lot of time on their hands to be out there just jawing. So the next little episode that we're going to go into here a little bit later, we're going to talk about the restraint of ICE, the understanding the mentality of a police officer. I was in law enforcement for many, many years. I can give you that little inside tip on what I feel and what I see and what I know, and I know how these guys were trained. Okay? So we're going to go into that a little bit more, but understanding the difference between sanctuary policies, red state policies. Red states, there are no sanctuary cities. They report everything. Everything is such a smooth, clean transition in those states. Those guys come in, they pick them up, and they're on their way. Okay? Big, big difference in what's going on. When you have a mayor and you have governors and you have police chiefs out there saying, we're not going to enforce immigration law, we're not going to help you enforce your immigration law because it's federal law, you're on your own. What does that do? What does that say to these people that want to go out and cause chaos? That what you're telling them is, have fun, boys and girls, the streets are yours. Go set up roadblocks, go spit in cops' faces, go yell at faces, go throw ice bottles at them. Do whatever you want because we're not going to arrest you. We're not going to intervene. Unless you start shooting at them, I guess maybe they would intervene, but does it really have to come to that extreme? But that's what you get when you have public officials spewing their rhetoric that this is what we're going to do and this is what we're not going to do. And then they expect the federal government to go, okay, well, geez, if you're not going to help us, we're just going to leave. We're going to leave with our tail between our legs. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Hey, if you guys like the content you're hearing, please smash that like button. Please share it. We're really got to get our followers up, and I sure appreciate y'all. Follow me under Patriot Cowboy Rob Cutler. Love y'all. We'll see you here on the next one.